Hello viewers, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we will explore the SDTM event class, that is the medical history. So let's get started. Let's understand how the medical history is collected in a clinical study using an example of a phase 3 trial evaluating the safety and efficacy of drug X in patients with type 2 diabetes mellitus. You might note that when you're working on any study, the CRF form will have two types of medical history forms. One is for the general medical history form, and the other will be the form which is capturing the details of the medical history of the disease for which this study is being done. So, the medical history, which is captured as a general medical history, is the history which is captured to know the overall health before of the patient before the subject is being enrolled in our study. You might also observe that many of the inclusion exclusion criteria are also talking about few of the points or the disease related questions, and based on the response to those questions you will see that the subject is either enrolled in the study or is considered as a screen failure. So the medical history, which is categorized as a general medical history, not only gives the information of the participants' overall background in health informations, but is also to critical to capture to know whether the subject is suitable to be a part of the study or not. In this example, if the subject has hypertension, heart disease, asthma, hypothyroidism, or depression, these details are recorded as a part of general medical history. Because this information helps the investigator assess the eligibility, monitor the safety, and understand how other diseases or medications might interact with the study drug. Apart from this, the other CRF form which we will have is for the CRF form related to the history of the disease which is under the study disease. This focuses on the conditions and complications that are directly related to the study disease. And in this example of type 2 diabetes mellitus, we can collect the information such as how long the participant has the diabetes or their past AB, HbA1c levels or the insulin use, any diabetes related complications such as neuropathy, retinopathy, or kidney disease. We can also capture the other conditions often linked with diabetes, such as obesity or high cholesterols. These data points help the research team understand the disease severity, progression, and how the study treatment performs across different patient profiles. So if we want to summarize and understand what these two types of medical history is collected and why, we can say that the general medical history gives a broad picture of the participant's overall health, while the study disease related history provides the focus on the insights of the disease being studied. Now let's see the CRF form for the general medical history for an oncology study. In this form is taken from the oncology study for the prostate cancer study. So right now in the general medical history, you can see that nothing related to the study diagnosis or the study disease is being captured. They are just capturing any medical history which will be any significant to the disease in question. So right now in this form, we have a category being already defined here as general, and when this form will be filled, the investigator will just checkbox this general category and it will mark that this history is for the general medical history. And what medical diagnosis we are checking or the medical disease we are checking, that will come in this medical history term field, which is a free text field where you can enter the information of the disease which they are giving the detail of. So and then we have the the start date and the end date of that medical history. In case the medical disease is still ongoing, then we will have the information captured in the next question whether it was ongoing, yes or no. We have another question captured here regarding the toxicity grade of that particular disease. So in this form, you can see the general history is captured, and based on the annotation also, you can see how it will be mapped to the SDTM domain. The ongoing and the toxicity grade is mapped to a subqual variable in MH domain. Now let's see the study disease medical history CRF form here. So as I told that earlier, we were discussing about the general medical history form for a prostate cancer study. Now you can see that this is the CRF form which is related to this study disease. And in the disease diagnosis of disease question, you can see that the prostate cancer is being mentioned, and the radio button is already grayed out, which means that this form will be filled for the information related to the prostate cancer. So here, since this is the uh, disease which we are investigating in our trial, and the subject enrolled is also the subjects who are already having this disease, so we want to capture the history of this disease the subject has. So what we are capturing is the date of initial diagnosis. That is when the subject was diagnosed that the subject had this particular cancer. Apart from that, all the other information which is being captured here is that, for example, the primary site of cancer, the staging system, or the initial Gleason score, all these are the information which is providing additional information to the disease in question, that is the prostate cancer. So right now, the history information will be mapped to the MH domain, but the extra information which is captured here about the disease, such as the site of cancer or the score, that is all being mapped to the findings domain, and it is going to map into the FAMH, that is findings about medical history. But the point to note here is that we have a separate form for the study disease medical history in every study. In this study, they don't need to add any additional information to go for the study disease medical history. They only want the date of initial diagnosis in this scenario. So that's the only information they are going to map in MH domain. But the rest of the all related information they are going to keep in your FA domain. That's all for today. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content on SDTM domains, ADAM, and clinical SAS programming. Comment below if you want us to cover a specific domain or topic next. Thanks for watching.